Hi everyone, it's Teresa V, coach to lightworkers, highly sensitive people, and world changers everywhere. If you find yourself here, I am sure that you are the person that your family and friends, and maybe even strangers and people that you don't know at all, come to for advice. And you may be wondering, why the when people listen to me? This can be immensely frustrating, and it can have several effects on us as people and as intuitive beings. We are the know-it-alls of the world. You've probably, at some point in your life, even been called a know-it-all. And it's true. I invite you to embrace that, as I have. Because you have access to your intuition in a way that most of the population doesn't yet. When you have a family member or a good friend who you've given advice to and they've completely disregarded it or don't listen to you, the first thing I invite you to look at is, did they ask me for this advice? Sometimes we are really well intentioned and we see the path clearly for somebody else and we give them advice or some information that we have for them. The thing is, if they didn't ask for it, it means that they didn't really want it. They weren't ready to hear it. That's the first thing to examine. Are you giving advice when people are asking for it? If not, you're frustrating yourself by offering something that they are not ready for. The second thing to look at is, are they asking for your advice or your input or your guidance and then disregarding it anyway? This is the part that is super frustrating, and it causes a lot of us to have doubts about who we are, about our intuition, and about the things that we've learned, studied, or are passionate about. Face it, you give incredible advice, and it's their loss if they're choosing not to take it. You know this, I know this, they don't necessarily know this. There are a few things for us to explore here. When family or good friends are asking us for our advice, for our input or our intuition, very often we are already in another role in their life. While you may be someone who is sought after for your excellent legal advice or nutrition advice or just your intuitive hits, when you are with a family member or a good friend, you are already brother, sister, daughter, father, mother, whatever your role in their life has been up until this point. So for them to pull out of that and see you as this other person in this other role is not realistic. You are always going to be sister first, which makes you less credible than someone who they are going to specifically for advice that they have no connection to before, or that they are connected to only in the way of having received that advice. So, first is your role. If you are in this person's life, they are not going to be able to hear you. It is not your job to give them this kind of advice, to take care of them in this way. You already have your role. What you can do is just stand by them, help listen and walk through things with them in the role that you already play in their life. The second thing to look at is that most people, excluding most of us watching this video, because if you're watching this video, you have done a lot of work on the self. You are immersed in growth and change, and you know the positivity that comes out of it after all the hard work. But most people in the world will choose the easiest way possible to get through or around something. When you are giving advice, very often you're not afraid of the hard work. You're not afraid to explore and find out more of who you are inside. And that is very, very scary to a lot of people. Also, the path of healing that comes through self-exploration is often much more intense and takes more time. It's thorough because you're working from the issue out as opposed to from the symptoms in. But it's also much more intimidating to people. Just know that people will take the path of least resistance whenever it is offered to them. These are two things to look at when your advice is being thrown by the wayside. Just know that for every person who can't hear you, who can't receive your message for whatever reason. There are thousands of people who need to hear exactly what you have to say in the way that you have to say it. So please keep going. If you keep moving forward, the people will find you, the magnetics will attract them to you, and you will be able to help in the way that you feel so called to, regardless of what your role or who you are in this lifetime. If you feel really called to truly deepen into this part of yourself and bring yourself even more to a space of neutrality, then just click the link in the comments or in the description of this video, and you'll be taken to the page where you can receive a free heart-centering meditation where you can go within and have more strength from the inside to show up in the world on the outside the way that you truly feel called to. And thank you for being here. Feel free to leave comments, let us know how we can support you, and share this video with those that you feel need the message. We'll talk soon.